What's going on, everybody? Welcome to After Prison Show. And today I want to share something with you that some of you, maybe even a lot of you, probably a lot of you have never seen before. And what that is one of the very first videos that I ever created for After Prison Show. In fact, this video is so old that back when this video was made, we weren't even calling it After Prison Show. We were just calling it After Prison. The show part would come later. What's also probably another trivial point to throw into this, there's a lot of very powerful things I want to tell you. This is probably neither here nor there, is this particular shirt right here that I'm wearing, which in this video that was created only 2.5 months after I was released back in December of 2015, I was wearing this particular shirt in that video. This shirt was actually one that I got from a temp service job that I was working, and also a temp service job that I would end up getting fired from. And what I'm going to share with you today in this old throwback After Prison Show video, one of the very first that we ever created, I'm actually talking about the fact that I just got fired from that temp service job. But all of that is really neither here nor there. The most important thing, and the reason why I share this video with you, is because a lot of you probably have never seen this video. This was actually the very first interview video created for what is now After Prison Show. And why this particular video is so important and why I want to share this video with you is because what a lot of you probably don't know is the individual who was featured in this video, this very first interview video, was actually the same woman from a big video that we did 2 years ago that was called The Life of a Drug Addict. Now, there's a few things that I want to share with you guys real quick. The woman who was featured in The Life of a Drug Addict and the woman who's featured in this particular video that I'm getting ready to share with you, again, a video that a lot of you probably have never seen. This is a friend of mine who I've known for many years, probably since I was something like 18 years old. This is also a person who has battled and suffered and dealt with addiction to the umpteenth degree. Addiction like I have, well, I've seen quite a bit of addiction, but addiction to the absolute fullest. A person who has had bouts in their life where they've been clean and then fallen back into addiction. This journey that this person has gone through throughout their life has been ups and downs, peaks and valleys, and basically like a roller coaster ride. And though in this particular video that you guys are getting ready to see, she's actually doing relatively okay given how she would end up doing in the video, The Life of a Drug Addict, basically her at her absolute worst. But don't get me wrong, in this video right here, she's definitely dealing with some things as well. I share all of this with you to introduce you to this person. Somebody who has remained anonymous here on After Prison Show, and somebody who I've tried my damnedest to keep anonymous here on After Prison Show. And the reason this particular video used to be a video on After Prison Show and then I took it down was because I felt like in that video, we didn't do a very good job of keeping her anonymous, trying to bleep out her name, things like that. So what I would end up doing is editing this video again, really making sure that we bleeped out this chick's name. And you know, with everybody who we featured on After Prison Show, this is the only person, I'm not gonna say it's the last, because we've got a lot of other things getting ready to happen as well. This is the only person who we've kept anonymous throughout their couple of appearances here on After Prison Show. And the reason that I've done that is because with what this woman shared, not only in this first video, but also in the video, The Life of a Drug Addict, I feel like these things are as real as it gets, especially seeing somebody at their absolute worst. And when we did the video, The Life of a Drug Addict, you know, I felt bad afterwards because we filmed the video with this woman at her absolute worst, sharing with us some of the craziest stories and things that she was doing in an effort to maintain her ability to continue to use. After we filmed that video, I felt horrible. Trying to justify it saying, well, we were just trying to chronicle this story. There was no way we could help this chick because if you can't help yourself, if you're not willing to help yourself, how can somebody else try and help you? And back when we filmed the Life of a Drug Addict video, I had no prior experience with attempting to try to help somebody to conquer addiction. So basically the justification in my mind was we're just gonna chronicle this, keep this woman anonymous, and who knows, maybe her story could help somebody who's just starting to dabble with the drug. Maybe her story helps somebody else from reaching the point of rock bottom where she was in that video, or maybe possibly help somebody to rise up from that. But you know, when I think back to that particular video, that second video we filmed with her, The Life of a Drug Addict, all the way up until right now, everything that we've done here on After Prison Show, and even trying and attempting to help people in whatever way with their addiction, you know, that has definitely not been an easy thing to do. And there's two reasons why I'm really bringing you guys up to speed on this woman's particular story. The first is because addiction has been a hot topic in my personal life right now. And that is because a lot of people have been reaching out to me. Joe, I've got a family member, brother, son, daughter, father who's dealing with addiction. Can you please talk to them? What can I do to try to help them? And to be honest with you, with as much work as we've tried to do here on After Prison Show, I honestly don't have the answers for that. The only thing that I can say, as cliche as it sounds, is a person is not going to change unless they're willing to change for themselves. If they don't want to change, nothing you can say is going to make them change. The second reason is because with this individual who was featured in this first video you're going to see right here, which you've probably never seen, some of you may have, and then also who was featured again in the video, The Life of a Drug Addict. If you've never seen that video, I'm going to link that video in the descriptions here. I'm telling you, that is as real as it gets. But with this particular individual, it is very soon, this week, you're going to see a follow-up to where exactly this person is now. And I truly believe that that's going to be as hard-hitting as that second video or even the first video that we did with this chick, The Life of a Drug Addict. This addiction topic, struggling with it, trying to conquer it. Can you conquer it? A lot of people don't. A lot of people do. And this is a very important topic and also conversation that After Prison Show has to always be a part of. Because a big part of prison and after prison deals with people's fight with addiction. It's been that way in my own personal life. It's been that way in Dave's life, Rabbit's life, Shannon's life, Danny's life. Pretty much any and everybody we've ever featured here on After Prison Show. And you can't save everybody. I can't save everybody. I'm no hero. I'm nobody special. Like, I know that. And I want to help as much as I possibly can. You know, I get comments that tell me, Joe, I thought you wanted to help people after prison. I can't help everybody. I can't. If I could, yeah, I would. But through the content that we create here, not all of it, because some of it is silly and humorous and still proves a point. But through the serious content that I create here, I do so for a bigger reason. And that is to spread awareness and exposure to what it's really like to be in prison and to come home after that struggling, trying to do it right. And to showcase also how real things can get. There's one final thing that I'm going to leave you guys with before sharing this cringe-worthy, ancient throwback After Prison Show video that you guys probably have never seen. Something else as real as it gets. I want you to take notice in this video as well, one of the camera angles used filming this while we were in the car. Riding through where I was living at when I first got released from prison. I was living in a horrible part of town. And I film this video from down below the windows. And the reason for that is crazy. Because, you know, where I was living at, with so much craziness that would take place in this area, I didn't want people thinking I was the police, riding around with a camera, taking pictures. And I also didn't want people thinking that I was somebody who had some money and an easy lick in a robbery. Because I most certainly wasn't anybody who had any money. I was a guy who was fresh out of prison after 7 years. 2.5 months later, doing the first ever interview here on After Prison Show, featuring a young lady who I have known for many years. While I was getting in trouble, then she was getting in trouble. While I was doing good and she was doing bad, while she was doing good and I was in prison. I share this with you to bring you up to speed on this individual, to introduce you to this individual if you've never seen either of those prior two videos, and to also prepare you for what is coming later this week, this major update featuring this young lady who was in a pretty big video that we did here on After Prison Show called The Life of a Drug Addict. And with that, I hope you can look beyond the cringe fest of this video and enjoy. Welcome to another episode of After Prison. I'm your host, as of late, Joe. $1 sunglasses, company shirt from a job that I was just recently fired from through the temp service, name blurred out, of course. And guess what? Today, we've got an interview today. We finally have a interview. We're going to try to keep the show relatively curse word free because I tend to cuss like a motherfucking sailor. I cuss like I have no filter, what the ever. So, as you can tell, we now have whatever the we're using now. I don't even know what the this is. What is this? What the are we using now for these curse words? Well, you get the picture. You see, we're toning it down. We're trying to be FCC friendly. So we're on our way to go meet with. This is our first interview. As you can tell, we're bleeping her name out. She doesn't want her name being used in this as she tells her story of what life has been like for her after prison. This is a chick who's done time in prison, and she's been out for a while now, trying to transition, trying to adjust, but she suffers from a lot of addiction problems. You're gonna hear a crazy story from her as she tells the tale of what her life has been like. She also has to see a probation officer, which we're gonna be taking her to see, and I'm sure this adventure is gonna be quite the crazy one, so stay tuned. So this is, say hello.
Hi.
You're a beautiful young chick. Tell us what's going on with you today.
We're on my way to see my PO. I kind of have to drink a lot of water right now at this moment.
Why?
Cause I like to smoke pot sometimes.
You don't worry about getting violated?
I mean, I do, but I mean, this trick kind of works every time, so.
What's the trick?
You just gas up.
So that's a whole gallon of water you're drinking right there, and you're gonna drink all of that before we get to the probation?
Pretty much.
So let's talk a little bit about the time that you spent incarcerated. How long were you gone, and how long ago was that?
Altogether it was about 8 months.
Right. And you went to prison.
I went to prison. I was pregnant as hell when I went to prison. The last time I went.
What did you go to prison for?
Violation of probation.
And what were you on probation for?
Felony breaking and entering.
Did you have an issue with drugs?
I did. That's why I violated.
Well, do you feel like you have an issue with drugs still?
I mean, I guess as a recovering addict, it's always going to be an issue. But as far as right now, I can say that I am doing better. I mean, granted, I'm sitting here chugging a gallon of water, but I can honestly say that I'm doing a lot better than I was, say, 3 weeks ago.
And tell us about what was going on with you 3 weeks ago.
I just been struggling with an addiction. I pretty much just gave up, and I just kept getting high. And probably the worst way possible you could get high.
What was your drug of choice?
Heroin.
Wow. So what do you feel about if this trick that you do with this water doesn't work? What happens if this doesn't work and you fail a drug test?
To be honest, I haven't been on probation that long, so it's not going to hurt me now. If I fail this piss test, it's not going to hurt me at all. But if I do it again, then I'm in trouble. So.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that you cleaned up. You look like you're a lot cleaner. I don't know what you were looking like while you were not.
I wish I had a picture, because you wouldn't believe it.
Well, you look good, so it's good to see that you're cleaning it up.
I mean, I'm sure it's kind of a contradiction that I'm sitting here chugging this water before I have to go see my PO, but it's not for opiates. It's for marijuana that stays in your system for 30 days. Had it been anything else, I'd be fine.
Right.
But, I mean, I'm a pothead at heart.
So. How much of that water have you drunk so far?
Not enough.
So, a lot more drinking, huh?
Yeah, unfortunately. I just gotta keep it down.
So you said you were pregnant while you were in prison?
Yeah.
Did you give birth while you were in prison?
No, I got out about a month before I had him.
Wow, that's pretty crazy. It must have been tough being pregnant while in prison.
It definitely was. They don't seclude the pregnant women. You're in general population with the crazies, just like everybody else.
Did you have any problems while you were in there?
Me personally, no, just because, I mean, I'm cool like that. I get along with everybody. But some people did, and I mean, they have to be put in safekeeping.
Some pregnant women had problems while they were in there? Wow.
They don't discriminate. They don't like you. They're gonna f with you whether you're pregnant or not.
Wow, that's crazy. So talk about your kids. How many kids do you have?
I have 4 kids, 2 girls and 2 boys. My oldest is 8, my youngest is 1.5.
And where are your kids at right now?
They're in Carolina due to the fact that I was incarcerated and that I had gotten in so much trouble over the years. I kind of had lost custody of my kids to family and relatives. So.
Do you miss them?
Of course I miss them. They're my blood. That was my life. I was a mom before I was anything else.
Right.
The drugs came after that.
So are you trying to get your kids back right now?
I am.
Well, that's good. Like, what kind of steps are you making to try to get your kids back?
I mean, I can't really sit here and brag about anything that I'm accomplishing because it's one day at a time. Like I said, I just recently stopped using again. I mean, I keep relapsing.
What do you think the biggest reason for you relapsing is?
Not having my kids, not having anything to call my own. I lost everything, so when you lose everything, it's kind of just like, it, who cares? Like, might as well just get up, forget about it.
How much of that water have you drunk?
Half.
About half of it?
Yep.
Well, you got a long way to go.
I shouldn't have to drink it all.
So do you think this is worth it? You know, having to drink all this water just to smoke some weed?
I mean, it's really not. In all reality, it's not worth it, because ultimately that wind me right back up in prison or jail or wherever the they decide to do with me.
So the point of drinking all this water is to pee a lot before you got to go in to see the probation.
Yeah.
And
so you're pissing nothing but water.
Right. You got to pee right now?
Yeah, I do, but I'm gonna hold it because I'm about to have to go up in here.
And you know they're gonna piss you?
No, I don't know that. So I could be doing all this for nothing. But
and sitting up in there, legs crossed,
yeah, like,
tight-faced.
Like, come on, P.O., I gotta go pee.
Okay, so we're here at the probation office right now. Got to get ready to go in and meet with her P.O. Hopefully all that's gonna go well for her. I want to talk to you a little bit about some other things. I especially want to talk to you about addiction. It seems like addiction has plagued your life for a long time now. And I just want you to talk about, what do you honestly think it would take for you to clean up your life and really get your stuff together?
Just some dedication, I guess. Really just put my mind to it. I really just gave up at a point in time. And something over these last few weeks, I guess, has just really kind of opened my eyes back up to really just doing other things in my life.
What do you think it would take this time for you to stay on the straight and narrow?
I don't know, to be honest. I just got to take it one day at a time. I can't sit here and predict that it's all going to work out, because then I'll just be let down if it doesn't. At this point, I mean, I'm completely sober as far as, I don't even take anything for medication as far as withdrawals. I'm completely over the withdrawals. This is me, completely sober.
That's awesome. I'm glad to see you sober. I'm glad to see you
Nothing's
clean.
in my system right now.
While you were incarcerated, do you feel there were any programs offered to you that helped you try to get clean?
No, not at all.
So like countless individuals who are coming home after incarceration, definitely suffers from substance abuse issues and denial. It's a great thing that she's no longer using heroin, at least for the moment. Hopefully she'll continue to not use, but to still be smoking weed, that's a definite recipe for disaster, especially while on probation. This is a chick with a great head on her shoulders and someone who could really do amazing things if they just put their best foot forward. But like so many who are coming home after incarceration, it's easy to get sidetracked and derailed. I really hope this girl can make the positive changes she needs to make in her life to succeed. Will she? Only time will tell. And only she'll be able to tell that, actually. We can only wish her the best as she continues on her journey after prison. Okay, so our time came to an end pretty abruptly. Actually got kicked out of the probation office parking lot. That kind of sucked. They told us we couldn't shoot on a state facility or something like that. But anyways, I had to go, and we will definitely be continuing to tell her story in future episodes. And as I wrap this up, I actually have to go deal with my own probation and a class I have to take. So that's how this episode comes to an end. We got kicked out of probation, and I got to go see my probation. See y'all later.